It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized in this. Get right on it, Chief.
Skinner, but Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have them some fun, cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody clapping out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. Free at last! Free at last!
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry. No retreat and no surrender. I'm Alan Autry, so honored and humbled to have you with us today. Wasn't here yesterday, but I want to tip the hat to Sebastian Gorka. Does a great job sitting in for me. A very intelligent man. The antithesis of the man sitting in the chair right now.
He does a good job.
Huh?
He does a good job,
He
Sebastian.
does a good job. He does. He's
not as good as you.
Well, thank you for that. But no, he's he always learns something from Sebastian. You know, he was an advisor to Trump. Got out of Dodge real quick though. He was only there for like a cup of coffee and a round of golf at Mar-a-Lago, and then he knew back behind the mic.
What, he knew something was up? Or?
Well, no, I just think it just wasn't his gig. I heard him talk about it. He said, he's in these stuffy offices all the time, and he could better serve the president not being in there. So, but anyway, I thank Mr. Gorka for picking up the slack, and I'm so happy to be back here on Taco Tuesday. Again, sans taco.
Yes, we have no tacos.
Well, what are you going to call it? Terrible Tuesday, tumultuous Tuesday. I just like Taco
Terrific
Tuesday.
How about terrific?
Terrific Tuesday.
We don't want to be negative.
Terrific Tuesday. It is Terrific Tuesday.
That sounds like a
good. And you know what is terrific? And we're going to start the show off. We hadn't planned on it, but dadgummit, we're going to do it. I'm talking to you before the show. You know, we exchanged notes, Pearl and I. I call him Pearl's another one of his many nicknames. Bullet Bob, Pearl. So I'll fill you all in on the childhood nicknames. But I want to talk about Biden's trip to the border, whether that was just a photo op or a really change of heart. That he's actually going to say, El Paso, we have a problem down there. Or just, just trying to put some lipstick on a pig down there, what have you. We also want to talk about this McCarthy getting right to work. You know how I feel about the process. I think it went way too far. I agreed the hand that was being played by the 20. I think they played it too far. But credit to them, they pushed the envelope, but I think they got it together quick enough. Now, I think they pushed it, any further. I think even a week more would have been very injurious to the cause of the Republicans who sold to the people that, look, we're going to go in and right some of these wrongs. For example, stopping this insanity of 87,000 IRS agents being hired. That's just one thing. That's what people want to do, get to work. But I get the hand. I agree with the hand that was played. Again, I just felt they played it too long. But again, I think they got off of that boat in time. And I think, to be honest, I got to sit here and say they got some concessions from the speaker that I think are going to be really good for the country. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we're going to start this off. Damar Hamlin, the young man, Buffalo Bills player who, in essence, died on the football field. He was there. He was out. Heart stopped. Many of us watched that unfold. One of the most dramatic things I've ever witnessed.
Very scary.
Oh my gosh! I think everybody was touched. I've never seen athletes react that way.
Yeah.
You knew something very, very bad was up. And I want to commend the Bills. They kind of built a wall around what was going on for dignity's sake, but they saw the severity of it, but kind of kept the cameras out. And I think that was really a good thing. But it was not looking good for quite a while there. You don't stay non-breathing and your heart not beating for 9 minutes. I mean, you're in the danger zone. The prognosis, everybody was trying to put on the face of hope. You saw on a mass scale, like I've never seen, probably since 9/11, the call to prayer.
Yeah.
From networks, from anchors, from people that I'm just a gut feeling, assuming we're not really prayerful people by nature. Now, I say that not knowing a lot of them. Just I follow people. I've never heard them talk about God, never heard them talk about their faith. But there's a lot of folks out there that have the faith I'm talking about. But I do think this affected people who may be agnostic. It's not going to knock an atheist to their knees. Nothing will. But the agnostics who sit out there going, well, there may be a God. I think a lot of those agnostics hit their knees and called out to God for a miracle. God, will you please perform a miracle for this young man? Please save him, God. Because there was nothing other than you could do is go to prayer. The medical folks came out, were doing what they could with the defibrillator and all that stuff. Well, lo and behold, that miracle happened.
It did.
That everybody was
praying for.
Thank God everybody was praying.
Praying. Here's my question, just to ponder and think about. I would like sometime to spend a whole show on what I'm about to say, because I think we need to as individuals and a country. And that question is this. During times of deep crisis, tragedy, pain, a lot of us, especially believers, do call out to God. God, please help me. God, please perform a miracle. And as we saw, even people who may not be strong believers or may be agnostic will call out to God for that miracle. And when that miracle happens, you call out to God, and the young man does live and looks like he's going to make a full recovery.
Great recovery.
Where is the collective thank you to God? Where is the taking of the knee before the game? And the bill saying, we're going to take a knee not just to, for DeMar, but thank the God that we were praying to on that night he was injured.
Yeah.
And the announcers do the same, going, we're going to take this moment to thank God. We prayed to God for the miracle. God delivered the miracle. But you're not seeing that, are you, Bob?
No. You are seeing it only from some of the folks that were believers in the first place, like Josh Allen, some of those folks. But I don't know that we're going to see it from any of the folks from ESPN. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe they're doing it in private. But I think you're right.
But they
need
called
to make
out
it
publicly.
Exactly. They need to do
You called out to God
public,
unabashedly, unashamed.
Thank you, God.
Please, God, save this young man.
Now they need to do it publicly and say thank you.
And God says, okay.
You live.
I'm going to perform this miracle.
Yeah.
All I ask you to do is acknowledge me. And isn't that just kind of sadly human nature?
Well, it is. And it is in this era, this time we live.
Yeah. Well, I'm reminded of there's a movie called remember the movie called The End with Burt Reynolds? Well, it was called The End. It was I think one of his better movies. But Burt Reynolds plays a guy who has terminal cancer, and what he does after learning the diagnosis, and how he lives his life, and he goes around to make amends, become a different person, and then he says, "You know what? I don't want to go through this whole process." And at the time, he was feeling pretty good. The symptoms hadn't taken hold of him that much, but he knows he's going to end up dying from cancer. So he says, I'm going to end it all. I'm going to commit suicide. So the way he picks to do it is to start swimming out in the ocean. So he just starts swimming in the ocean. I'm done with this life, and he's swimming out, and he gets way out there. He's swimming. This is it. This is the best way to go. But then he gets out there way, and he changes his mind. Okay. And he turns around. He looks back at the beach, and it's way off. It's like a mile and a half. And he's totally out of the gas. He starts swimming back, and he goes, "Oh, Lord, please give me another chance of this. Lord, if you just let me get back, Lord, I'll give you 10% of everything I make from this time on, Lord. If you just let me get back to the beach. Lord, 10%. And I'm talking gross, Lord. 10% gross." And then he goes, I'm not going to make it. Then he goes, "I'm going to make it." He goes, "I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it back." And he goes, "Lord, about that 10%. Are we like that kind of, when you really need God, you're back to the wall, boy, you call out to him. Then when things look like they're going to work out, you don't need it. You don't need them unless you don't give
praise and the thanks.
Yeah, I don't think we do that.
Well,
like we should.
Human nature being what it is.
I'll never do this if you save me from this, and then you find yourself a week later doing the same thing.
How many times have I said that?
You know how many times I was on the old porcelain throne there, throwing up from drinking? Said, "Oh, Lord, Paul, please don't let me feel like that. You get me through this, Lord.
Never again.
I'll never do it again." A month later, I'm back on the porcelain. Yeah. All right. Anyway, just food for thought.
Great.
Great point. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit about Biden's trip to the border. Bullet, I get a lot of, quite a bit of criticism because I tend to when I see something done right that I feel by a politician or anybody in life, that I see somebody do something good and right, I have no problem in saying that's the right thing to do. That person did the right thing. Somebody, like we have this Dana White, he slaps his wife, and people want him to be removed from the head of the UFC, and probably should. He should step down. Yeah. But if he comes out and says, I'm sincerely sorry for what I did, which he did, I can say that's the right thing to do. That doesn't mean I agree with him slapping his wife.
No.
But there's some people going, you don't even acknowledge that. And in the case of Biden going to the border, he says, I'm going to go to the border. That's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Way to go, Joe. There's people out there
took him long enough.
But I get criticized for that. Well, it took him how many years? Should have done that 2.5 years ago. Should have done that his 50 years in Congress? Yes, he should have. Agreed. But he's doing it now. I can say, hey, but that should have been there before, but he's going now.
Okay.
And yeah, you should have been before, but I can acknowledge that. I get so much criticism for even acknowledging that. So I wasn't on the show Monday when I learned about it. I would have said on Monday, way to go, Joe. But there's going to the border, and then there's going to the border. There's going to just say, hey, I'm here, take a photo op in El Paso after the mayor's come in and cleaned out all the immigrants that were on the street temporarily. So when Joe comes through, he won't see the carnage, all the stuff going on. Then when Joe leaves, they dump the immigrants back out on the street, which is exactly what the mayor of El Paso did, and he should be ashamed of himself. He goes to El Paso. He doesn't go down and talk to the Border Patrol folks, the folks that he demonized and said they were whipping immigrants on horseback with whips. He could have went down there and said, you know what, fellas and ladies, I really stepped in it then. I'm sorry. He didn't do that.
Or said, you have our full and complete support in the administration to do what you need to do on the border.
So,
didn't do it.
I say, Joe, a taste of honey is worse than none of all. I mean, you shouldn't have went there and do that. That's even worse. And Joe, you should be ashamed of yourself, President Biden. Now, people will look at me who agreed with me, my brethren on the left, and said, yeah, way to go, Joe. That's good, Alan, that you said something good about Biden. And now, because I'm telling the truth again, I feel the truth the way I see it, that it was a photo op, and it makes the situation even worse and makes me trust this man even less. I'm a flip-flopper. I'm a flip-flopper to these people. Oh, you were for Joe before he went, and then when you went, you're not for Joe. Exactly. Because there's a difference between going there and doing a photo op, knowing full well where you need to go. You don't go there because you don't have enough courage to do it. What's your take on his trip there?
Well, I guess my first thought when this was announced actually, real quick deal to get down there. Where's Kamala Harris?
Oh, you mean the border czar?
Yeah.
Well,
where's she? She's been under wraps for the last.
She's in Nicaragua trying to figure out the root causes.
Where's Kamala?
You know what the root cause of it is, Kamala? The system of which Nicaragua is working under in Venezuela. It's called communism. There you got a root cause. It's created more poverty, this system, in the history of any other system. Go ahead.
So in jest, that's what my first thought was, because she was appointed 2 years ago to be the border czar and has never. Did she ever go down there?
Oh, yeah.
Did she go? She went down there once and kind of did.
Well, didn't
the same
she say
type of thing.
Not today?
Yeah.
When she was pressed on it, did she go there?
The border's secure.
Yes. You notice that it's hard for them to tell the truth on any subject. I just you would even not know the truth. I mean, seriously. You know that old saying, when this individual who's been known to not tell the truth, you can't trust them all, and the old joke, you know how to tell when so-and-so's lying, when their lips move. Truly, that applies to this administration. From Karine Jean-Pierre, the president himself, Kamala, yes, the border's secure. What? That's done it?
Well, Nancy said that too. I don't. This was
But,
just,
but yeah, what do you?
this was just a total opportunity for Biden to get down there and say, "See, I did go to the border. I did go down there.
And let me
I
ask you
didn't
this.
do anything. But I
How
went down
in
there."
the world can his supporters, 88 million of them, support that? Why can't they say, Joe, look, we got your back. We believe in big government. We believe in government is the primary answer to everything. We're behind you on the Ukraine war. But you just can't do that because it makes you look like you think everyone in this country, not just the MAGA maniacs, as you call them, but we, your supporters, that you think we're dumb, we're idiots. And you look at it, and I think that's what they told him. They saw the polling, said, you need to go to the border. You need to address inflation.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't his idea.
But then he gets talked into doing this cosmetic little walkout in El Paso. You know, he has enough time to stop and eat a churro, and then he's out of town. I mean, that's enough to just tick people off, even if you're supporting them.
Well, but
And you know why I'm flabbergasted? I'm not one of these conservatives that go, oh, good, he just dug his hole deeper. Oh, gosh, this makes the 2024 presidential election even more likely that DeSantis or Trump is going to win. No, there's too much suffering, folks, going on at that border right now. 6 million people have come across that border. Many of them, we don't know where they are. They've been released, and for 5 years, they get 5 years to have their hearing heard. You won't see 80, 90% of them again. And you know where a lot of them are, especially the kids, especially the little girls? They're doing sex films for the cartels. They're being human trafficked, murdered. That's not hyperbole. I know I come from a movie background, but I'm not being overly dramatic. I'm not overacting. I'm not lying to you. The statistics, the data from our own intelligence agencies say that. And you go down there and you do this, it's like telling those little Hispanic girls, you don't matter at all to me. When has he really spoken out against the cartels? You hold Putin for accountable, as you should, for the atrocities, the human carnage that's going on in Ukraine. And yet you have these cartels that commit the same carnage and even on a worse level. And you can't even call them out. And maybe that's why Mexican President Obrador, and we have our producer who's nicknamed President Biden, President Open Door. You think maybe, just maybe, that's one of the reasons this leftist president of Mexico, who should be on your side, says you have a disdain for Mexico and Latin America, Mr. President. He thinks the people around him, the woke left, think that they've endeared themselves to Latin America by letting this open door policy, come one, come all. Cartels, you're the main exporter. It's not American Airlines. It's not Southwest, the transportation mode to get people from Latin America here. It's the cartel, air cartel. They are the Uber drivers of Latin America for illegal immigration. You know, there's no truth to set you free before it's to make you miserable. But that's the miserable truth. And you don't know that. You go down there and you do this. You just go in and wave like you're at a freaking beauty pageant in Galveston, Texas.
Another lost opportunity.
And it costs lives.
Yeah, well, you're talking about thousands and thousands. And I did read one report that said he had the opportunity to talk to some of the
border migrants.
migrants.
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't he do it?
And didn't do it. And was chastised by folks on the left as well. CNN even blasted him for not doing it. And that's a stretch for them.
Which begs the question. This man is told exactly what to do. That's what people think. But here's what I think. And this goes counter. I don't think this man has ever been the middle of the road, bipartisan politician that he was promoted to be. You look at his record, he went after Clarence Thomas in a vicious way. He's never been one about truly seeking compromise. And he's always been one to run from his decisions when it's politically advantageous to do so. Ran like a scalded dog from the crime bill in the early 90s when the country was being decimated by crime. No, stand by that, Joe. You were a primary author of it, and the country needed it at the time. I think the guy I think he's as far left as AOC and even further. This whole notion that he's been pulled this direction about killing our economy by totally destroying fossil fuels, by getting in wars in foreign countries without an end in sight, no way to declare victory. I mean, he has a history of doing these things that are just so far left, it would make Che Guevara look like Pat Buchanan. I mean, seriously. Okay. We're going to take a break. We come back. We got Laura on the line. We're going to get her in here. And folks that called in, I couldn't see the monitor the other day. I know there's some callers coming in, and I just didn't see you waiting there. That's my bad. But we're going to come back, and we're going to stay with it a little bit on this border visit, because if you haven't noticed, it has triggered me a little bit. That word. I hate using that word under my skin, a burr in my saddle. Yeah, you can think of this is Alan Autry.
Bug in your bonnet, bee in your bonnet.
With Bullet Bob. We'll be right back. But see, do you really have a problem? I know you. I know you as a person. You're not going to give in to, I'm going to pile on just because this individual, because everybody else is. I'm one of those, I guess, political prehistoric dinosaurs that death by authorship doesn't exist with.
Well, but what good does it do? Does it make, would it make you feel better that you can pile on?
It makes no sense to me.
It doesn't do any good, and it just frustrates
that
more.
That if a good idea doesn't come from the right source, I'm not going to accept it. If it's not the right political party or the political ideology from an individual who has a cure for cancer, we're not going to accept the cure for cancer. We're just going to let people die. Why? Because who brought it forth is not. I mean, why can't you say Donald Trump contributed more to historical black colleges than any other? Say, hey, you suck over here, Orange Man. I hate you over here for this, but you know what? You did a good job there. I get in trouble with President Carter. Said, hey, not a charismatic leader. He was inept in terms of getting stuff through Congress. He just didn't have leadership skills in mass enough to be president of the United States. We paid an awful price, but he did one historic thing that no other president has ever been able to do, and everybody has tried. And that's get Egypt to sign a peace treaty with Israel. When the guns were blazing, it cost Anwar Sadat his life. Anwar Sadat knew he was a dead man. But Carter and both Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat said if it wasn't for Jimmy Carter, they would have never got together. So can't I say, President Carter, great job there. You stuck over here, here, and there.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't say that and be a good Republican. That's why I'm not a Republican. That's why I'm an independent. In this climate, you can't say that. And I'm not a Democrat, believe me. I consider myself a conservative. Most conservatives want common sense.
30 seconds?
They have enough confidence, enough grown-up genetics to say, I can tell that old boy did a good job over here. Now over there, I don't agree with him at all. And I'm going to fight him tooth and nail going this direction because it's not good for America. But back in 1985, when he did this, that was good. I wish he'd go back to doing that more.
10 seconds?
These people. God, just do the right.
I guess I should this off the air.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat, Taco Tuesday with Bullet Bob Leoni.
Hey.
Well, Guillermo officially has the title of Sarantalot, but I think I borrowed that moniker
You're
in
getting
the
close.
in that last segment. But I stand behind every word. Yeah, done it. These politicians. Okay, we've got Laura on the line. Laura Fisher, why the border gets surges?
You're not gonna like it.
Okay.
There was a 5-year study that was done. These people embedded themselves with coyotes in Central and South America to see how the whole process works and what they do and how they do it. And what they discovered was really quite terrifying. See, in 2013, China slowly began to make their way to South America, and thanks to Mr. Anthony Blinken, in 2017, they managed to have a stronghold on the majority of South America through BRI and other endeavors. Well, interestingly enough, they also, thanks to, I guess you call it business or enterprise, with a network of what they call snakeheads. And these snakeheads recruit coyotes. And the coyotes then work for the snakeheads. And the snakeheads actually promote in neighborhoods, the poorest neighborhoods where there's a lot of gang activity and so forth, and they show them American media news clips, politicians screaming the border's open. Oh, this president lets the border be open. And they show them this and convince them to sell everything to leave. And that's not just the Chinese that are doing it. It's these countries' own governments, because the way they see it, they want workers. They don't want people who are dependent upon the state to cost them their foreign aid money that we send them. This was 5 years in the making, 122 researchers. And said this is one of the most complex and well-organized methods of migration that they've ever seen. And that China's goal in doing this is to eradicate South America of what they consider undesirables, because we all know China's very picky about people, and also to cause disruption in our country.
What do you think about that, Bullet?
Well,
I tell you that it
seems to be working.
Yeah. No, I think it's, I do believe, Laura, what you said is, because what you described something that is very structured, multinational with some clear goals. And a lot of people don't believe that. You talk, no, that's just some people wanting a better life that are fleeing political turmoil, and they want asylum.
That may be, but they're deemed undesirable by the government for whatever reason. Maybe it's a single mom and they don't have any jobs. So she's not worthy. So she's got to go.
Exactly. And let me relay this out, and you tell me, Laura and Bullet, if and this is just my theory based on what I know. 8 years as mayor, I immersed myself in this issue because we're a border state. We have a lot of immigrants here, work the fields with people from Mexico, really good people. But you connect this dot. A lot of people don't know this, that Mexico's number one for many years, and I suspect still is, export is energy, gas, sort of thing. It used to be the second form of income, most income to the country, was tourism. That was replaced in the mid-2000s, about 2005. I got the stats on this on my desk, delivered to me, was money being sent back to Mexico by Mexican and South American immigrants living here both legally and illegally. Billions of dollars sent back. So if you're, just think about this partnership that we know no Latin American country is really cracking down on the cartel. But think about it. They need this. They need this money. I'll wrap up my point here, and then I want to get your guys' feedback. You have your second leading source of income being money sent back from workers in America back to Latin America. So you need to have some way to surreptitiously get there. You can't put them on a bus like DeSantis. So you have the cartel going, hey, cut us in on the action, Mr. Obrador. Cut us in the action, Nicaraguan president, Haitian presidents, whatever, the powers that be, whoever they may be. We'll provide you transportation over there, but it's charging what, between $2,000 and $10,000 per person? Cut us in on that, plus a percentage of what comes back into the country. And you wonder who's funding the cartel. Because a lot of people think, wow, can you make that much money in human trafficking more than drugs, more than fentanyl? You probably can now. If your government is paying you under the table to keep their second source of income, second most viable source of income other than gas exports. What do you think about that theory?
I think that may be part of it, but they're making hand over fist off of us, handing them foreign aid money every year.
Sure.
$129 billion.
Ssure. And yet, Oprah.
$129 in these countries. I mean, I probably have more money than some of these countries in the bank.
Mm-hmm. But then you have
Oprah.
Oprah.
All working in concert, but they are working directly with the Chinese. The Chinese now.
But are they not?
But
aren't they not? Don't you believe it? You know, you look at it, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. That the cartel is in that cabal as well with China and the Mexican government. They have to be.
All of the cartel fentanyl that they're bringing over the border is made in China.
Yeah, and I think and if you follow what Mexico does, they're on board the government. They work with the cartels, but they put up this facade that they're really out to stop them. And every once in a while, they'll take a big shot down just to show you, like they did 2 days ago, taking down Chapo's son. They'll have a shootout, but there's so many cartels. Usually, I think, that's when another cartel has superseded in power that cartel, and then the government goes, okay, the cartel that's really wielding the power, we're with them. We got to take somebody down. So you go and you take down either Chapo's son. You pick to say, hey, look, hey, they say, hey, look, we're really cracking down on the cartels. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
like I said, the more than 500 kidnappings daily.
Yes.
In Mexico
and
that they do nothing about.
So let me ask you this: we're talking about stability of democracy, and I hate to make comparisons, but I think we have to, because as you mentioned, we only have so much money in this country. It's not endless. These wars and aid can bankrupt you, so you can't be any good as a country to anybody if you're bankrupt.
Not if you ask the Democrats. We got a money printing machine, baby.
Exactly. But who do you think is more of a threat to American democracy? An unstable, maybe Russian-dominated Ukraine, or a totally unstable Latin America right next door to us, with three basically communist leaders in Nicaragua, Venezuela. Obrador is very far left. And
well, if I didn't know what I knew, I would say Ukraine, Russia, but the fact that I know that China is literally in control of South and Central America.
That's what I'm talking about.
Of that continent.
That's what I'm talking about. But we do know that.
But you've got to throw Ukraine in the mix, and the reason why is because I've already started one of my dissertations because I can't wait for school. I got my syllabus.
And congratulations again on that.
On this project about the Biden-Putin relationship. Do you have any idea how big of a grudge holder Putin is?
Oh, my gosh.
There's a guy his entire career has been dedicated to studying Vladimir Putin. He's at Oxford University.
They have hundreds of bodies of political opponents at the bottom of the Baltic Sea to test to that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this guy said he's literally the ultimate grudge holder. He said, I've seen people that hold grudges. Nobody is like him. Do you know what Biden? I just want to give everybody just one example of the ding-dong that we have running this country right now, okay? This man served on the Foreign Relations Committee for nearly 50 years. You would think that he would be a little bit savvy when it comes to diplomacy and how to conduct oneself in a foreign country. But nay, he does not. When Putin had to step down as president because at that time the Russian Constitution said he had to sit out a term and then he could come back, so he put the placeholder Medvedev in place, and he served as prime minister. Well, Ding Dong, our current president, went over there with an envoy from the Foreign Relations Committee and the Secretary of State to congratulate Medvedev on his win. Okay, whatever. Anyway, he gives this speech at Moscow University and has the nerve to pull a Don Rickles celebrity roast on Putin.
Saw that. I saw that. That's a perfect description of
Are
it,
you
too.
freaking kidding me right now?
Hey, Medvedev, you hockey puck. Yeah, yes, I saw. That's a good point, Laura.
Baby Jesus, this man is out of his
Oh, my gosh. Oh, if it wasn't so sad, it'd be so funny.
20-something years ago.
Yeah. You know, I asked, let me,
And
let
he's
me,
only working with like 9 brain cells and maybe 1 spark.
stay on the line here. I want to ask Bullet a question here, and then you can chime in after on it after Bullet gives his response. But because you know, Obama came out famously and said, "Don't ever underestimate Joe Biden's ability to have up things." Now, Laura, you may know when that was uttered. I believe it was uttered within Biden's first term because of some things that happened. I may be wrong on that, but I think that was the first leak.
No, it was before that.
Oh, okay. That's even, it's going to prove my point even more. Going to prove my point even more. And it's piggybacking on what you just said. So it took Obama very little time my point is, it took Obama very little time to come to that conclusion. How about these people, both in the Congress of the United States, but dignitaries all over the world that have known Biden for 50 years? You don't think they came to that same conclusion a long time ago? And they look and saying, "Hey, we think Trump is crazy," but you don't replace crazy with insane.
They need to put a helmet on him, so whatever brain cells he has left don't leak out this oil can.
Well, Bullet, what do you think about that?
We got to keep him at least
what was the
safe
question?
from everybody else.
Man,
Put a helmet on.
I can't even. I can't. Alan, oh my God! I'm going to send it to you. Please check your email.
I just think one day my fear is he's going to pick up the wrong phone and say, instead of saying, "Hey, I'm hungry, it's time for lunch," he's going to say, "Hey, it's time to launch," and it's going to be all over, man. It's going to be all over.
You know what?
This
Thank
guy's
God
a disaster.
It's not that simple.
What's that?
It's not that simple.
What's that? What's not simple?
He can't launch anything that easily. Thank God. And maybe that's why.
You know, they keep saying that. I'm not so sure. I don't know. You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thankful of? You know what I'm thankful of? Let me tell you what Ollie North. Yeah, but let me tell you what Ollie North said, which makes me think, because I know what you're saying. There's these layers there, but it finally gets down to a human response. And Ollie said, like, he doesn't think Putin. There's going to be a World War III, a nuclear war, the launching of the nukes. Because, now get this, Laura. Ollie North believes Putin's crazy enough to do that, but he thinks that the people who finally would launch as it makes its way down, Putin says, "Launch them, comrade." When it finally gets down to the launchees, that they wouldn't do it. They're going to say, "I'm not going to destroy the world." But listen, we're dealing. You know what I think? I said, we're dealing in a post-COVID world. This world is freaking crazy. What if it gets to the two people there and they go, "You know what? This world's lost anyway. I'm sick of it. I'm going to do everybody a favor. Push the button. Let's get out of here." We're done. That's what I think. What if
He hasn't met a lot of Russians. Those people they're wild.
They We're going to get into some stereotypes. We're going to get banned. We're going to get canceled, Jeremy.
I love her. She has a thick accent.
Do the Russians love that vodka? Yeah, baby.
I feel like I'm being interrogated.
Did you know?
What are you doing?
Do you know that this came out? So I'm not saying this just off the top of my head. So please don't cancel me, Facebook, Zuckerberg. I'm just quoting it by numerous outlets in the press back in the day. When Boris Yeltsin was jumping up on the tanks, drunk, red-faced, beat-faced, they kept there, "I want freedom, comrade." Well, apparently they did surveys and got this data back that at that time, 82% of the workforce in Russia drank on the job. They were drunk. They had completely lost communism, where you don't let your spirit be free and you can go from the outhouse to the penthouse, at least have a chance at it. It crushed the human spirit so much They just got drunk, and the government provided it.
I think I've worked with some of those.
Boy, that's good.
Alan, look at the videos before communism fell. Everything was
How
in
do we
black
get on
and
this
white. That
subject?
was color film. They were just literally so sad they were devoid of color.
Mm-hmm.
All gray.
That's why they had to drink. I don't
Yeah.
want. Joe
Well-
Biden is about to make me start day drinking.
No, don't do that, Laura.
Hey,
we need you coherent for the show.
you got your studies to complete. Show the. All right. Well,
No, I am filing a lawsuit against the Volusia County School Board.
are you really?
I'm in a huge fight with them.
You go, girl.
Because over the Christmas break, I found out the Satanic Temple trying to do their after-school program in Volusia County schools that have the Good News program. That's not happening.
My
I don't
gosh.
care if I have to burn
What's
the
with
building
this
down.
Satan
That's
movement
not
going around the
happening.
world
I
country?
already have bail money, just in case.
What's with this
Anyway,
bullet? Laura?
Here's the problem, Alan.
Tell us
You
the
ready for
problem,
this?
Laura.
These sneaky little. They didn't even put that on their calendar.
Oh, of course
that
not.
They were going to be putting up this proposal. How I found out about it was during the Christmas break. One of my clients, her sister-in-law, is on the school board. She told me that they deliberately didn't put it on there because they didn't want a lot of drama. Guess
Sure.
what? Here's your drama. Because I have pulled up over 400 pages on criminal convictions, criminal investigations, and everything else on the Satanic Temple. I also have enlisted my ex-boyfriend, the federal attorney, and I've already met with the county attorney and said, if you try to put them in these schools, there's going to be smoke in the city. The second I walk in that building, there's going to be a misunderstanding, just so you know it.
You know, I got an idea. You know, you got the drag queen hour. You read to the kids and everything. You can start the drama queen hour and go about and just reveal all the drama, not in a negative sense. I don't mean drama queen in a negative sense at all. Like you said, I'm bringing the drama. You know, hey, you're trying to get past. Let me tell you a little quick story how much I agree with this, and it really opened my eyes on things. I was appointed when I was mayor to the advisory committee for the National Conference of Mayors because I was, quote, a Republican you can work with. And I was kind of proud of that. He put me on there, you know, advisory board and that sort of thing. And it was going pretty good. I'd go to, you know, to the conferences and they would do these breakout sessions, but basically it was just a political action committee for the Democratic Party. And what really crossed the line for me, because it made some headlines. CNN covered it, Fox News covered it. I think the New York Times wrote a little bit about it. LA Times did about when I walked out the mayor's conference, resigned from the mayor's conference. But what happened was kind of what you're just talking about. Did our conference, it's like a 4-day conference. Then on the last day, about 80% of the mayors go home. They have this kind of wrap up time, but very few of them stay. They go home. Well, I hung out because I'm a new guy. I'm going to stay to the end. You know, I want to get the full effect of everything. So I'm sitting back there looking around, and there's this guy, David Cicilline. He's a representative of Rhode Island. At the time, he was the mayor, I think, of Providence. But he's in there now doing the same doo-doo, stirring, underhanded stuff that he did about what I'm about to tell you. So they're getting ready. The head of the conference is up there on stage doing his number here, saying goodbye. It was a great conference, yada, yada. He says, now we just have one more point of business. And what they did, Cicilline introduced a resolution on behalf of the entire mayor's conference to censor President Bush for his actions in Iraq. That the mayor's conference totally was unanimous in condemning the President of the United States. I'm looking going, what? We were never told any of this during the conference. And there's how many? I could count them. There was like maybe 12 mayors. They said, let's take a vote. I think we got 12, including me. So 11 of them stick up their hands high. I said, oh, wait a minute. I have a question. And they had the mic there, and they got the mic, and I told them, you know, what's this all about? The mayors, they're not here in this resolution. Are you going to note that there was only 12 mayors that voted for this? Or 11 mayors? No. And I said, and they were so arrogant about it. And I'd caught them, and you could see the irritability. I said, you're not going to withdraw this? This goes against any kind of protocol of a reputable body representing the people of any kind that you do something like this, whether you agree with it or not. And I have problems with President Ben over there in Iraq as well, but this is off the charts. And they wouldn't budge. I said, well, I resign from the conference. And they were like, no, Mr. Mayor Autry. I said, no, are you going to change it? No, I said, end of discussion. There's no deal that's going to be made here that I'm going to go along with this nonsense. And it's just like you said, Laura, that's true at the federal level. They try to sneak things through without having people come in. Their worst nightmare was to me to stay around. And
well, darling, they picked the wrong county because I've already been on Channel 2 News and Channel 6 News. And I'm going to be on Channel 9 News tomorrow morning to let all the mommies and daddies and grandparents know that these demonic people are going to try to come into our schools, and it's not happening. My lawyer is
let me ask you,
so that he can go with me to the school board meeting. I sent them a copy of everything, so I don't blindside them.
Right.
But I let them know this is
Good for
not
you.
going away.
Good for you. Good for
I've
you.
already filed a formal complaint with the State Department of Education. Their investigation has already begun into the school board, and I'm filing a lawsuit
Good
because
for
they
you.
violated 5 paragraphs within their own policy.
Way to go,
Call me
girl.
domestic terrorist.
Let me.
I wish you would.
Why do Satan worshipers get offended when you call them demonic people?
Listen, I
No,
understand being in the middle of a conversation with one of them.
Hey,
well, I don't understand it, Jeremy.
Hey, Laura.
And he wants to try to explain to me. I said, you know what? I really wish you would just be quiet. Whatever darkness is in you that made you think the Satanic Temple is where you need to be, that's on you, baby. I'll pray for you every day, but you ain't coming near my granddaughter.
Absolutely. Well, that's the point when they start going to bullet.
Hey, Laura,
get a word in there.
I'm sorry. I may have missed. What specifically is this group attempting to do at the school?
They want to have an after-school program to teach children life skills and self-empowerment, confidence building. You know what? We already got a program through St. Jerome Catholic Church that is amazing. We don't need you, but thank you.
Now, again, just so I'm clear on this, the school board in your county has approved this after-school program?
No, they have not approved it yet.
Oh, okay.
The Satanic Temple wants to come and give a
presentation of what they want to do? Oh, okay.
A presentation, submit their proposal, and then there's going to be a Q&A between the school board and them. But they didn't put it on their calendar.
You sneaky devils. Sneaky
and
devils,
I found out about it. And so I just went ahead and I called Miss Short and I said, just so you know, I know what y'all are up to, and I've already called the news.
Gotcha.
Now, it's interesting about those Satan worshipers. You know, they kind of rewrite history. In their history book, the devil wins in the Garden of Eden.
Listen, they picked the
Jesus jumps off the temple.
Well, good luck on that. We're behind you 100%.
I have one thing I had to tell you real quick about your Christmas present that I didn't know that I found out over Christmas.
Yeah?
That crucifix was actually given to the Archbishop by Pope Pius.
Man.
When he was told, the reason he was in Italy at that time, he was at the Vatican, and the reason he was there because he was going to be inducted into the Cardinal College. And they let him know, and they gave him his investments and everything, and that particular crucifix, because of the reliquary that it contains, which is the Catacomb de Generosa, that is relegated only for clergy.
Wow.
Well, what Laura's talking about, and I want to be respectful to Laura because I didn't want to mention that because I wanted, it's a very special gift, and it was just took my breath away. It was her grandfather's, and she gave that to me, and I was just so humbled beyond belief, and that's going to stay in the Autry family forever. And I like I said, I don't deserve that, but I'm not going to mess with the spirit that moved you. I know it was a beautiful, beautiful note that you sent me, and I'm just so humble, Laura. And you're a great lady with a great heart. You love this country, but most importantly, you love God. And if you love God, you want to see this country make it, because this is a country that put its whole destiny in the hands of God. That we're willing to give their own lives for freedoms and liberties that were God-given, not by man. That we're willing to do all of that, and you love this country. And like you said, when you mess with the kids, that's when you got to put on the fighting gloves. You turn the other cheek, but there are issues where you turn over the tables in in the in the temple there.
Yep.
And this is when you mess with these kids and mess with their soul. I think that's one of them. So we'll wish you back. Keep us
yesterday. They better watch out.
Yeah, well, keep us posted on that. Keep us posted. Appreciate you, Laura. Thank
that I'm going to have with the school board.
we look for the updates. Keep us posted. Love you, girl. God bless you.
Thanks,
and your
Laura.
family. Bye-bye now. Wow.
You know that.
Go ahead.
These daggum groups that come in, they know where to attack first, and that's the children.
Oh, absolutely.
They know that they need to get to them first. You know, and these rag shows that.
Go ahead, speak your mind.
Jeremy and I were talking about. There was a church here in town a few weeks ago that had a drag show for kids. Well, was that for adults and everybody, or just for kids? For adults and kids. And I'm
young kids.
First of all, stay away from this church. This is a bad place. This is the devil's got his foot in the door on that one. You don't want to go there. But these weird groups are anti-Christ groups are getting into schools, churches, and it's infiltrating to get to the young kids and fill their minds with mush. And God bless Laura for doing that. That's awesome. We probably all need to do.
Well, when you take a stand in this world for something good, it's going to cost you.
Yep.
That's what people have to understand. So, is the purpose worth the pain? That's a question we all have to ask ourselves when we quote speak out, because there's going to be a price to pay.
Yep.
And Laura feels it's that way. You felt it just now.
Yeah.
And what you said, it's out there, and we just need more people to speak their mind from their hearts. Well, when that music plays, Leonard Sly, otherwise known as Roy Rogers. Pearl, thank you so much, Bullet.
Thank you, Austin.
Jeremy, manning the controls in there. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, all listeners and viewers on social media. Thank you so much. God bless you, and just do your best and let God do the rest. And it's going to turn out the way it's supposed to, I promise. Bye-bye now.